You know, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I just did a reading for you in honor of Computer Poetry of poems that were from two different literary magazine collection books. The first one was CC&D Unfinished Business, and I closed by reading a couple of poems from the Down in the Dirt January to April 2022 issue collection book titled The Ice That Was. But now I am going to read to you some mini micro-prose pieces from the Down in the Dirt issue collection book that's titled The Ice That Was. This is like the craziest ice pattern ever. I tell you. And I'm reading in honor of the Community Poetry 1 to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time reading that was at Half-Price Books before the pandemic started. But in honor of that, I'm sharing with you poems the way I would at this place. And sometimes we'd allow something like micro-prose. So I'm doing a couple pieces of micro-prose in here as well for you. I hope you appreciate them. This first one is titled How a Woman Falls in Love. Okay. Here's scene number one. It's about 3 in the morning and you're in a wheat field with him. He's pulled his junker off the country road, got out a blanket, and just started walking. You followed. The hip-high blades of grass were wet with dew. You can still feel that cool of the water when you think about it now. And you can smell the wheat. You can smell that it's green, that the acres in the dark are just screaming with life. He finds a spot and pushes the wheat down, and then the blankets go, and then you go. You remember that all you could see were a few stars in the sky, silhouettes of trees waving on the horizon, wheat hovering over you like skyscrapers, and him kissing your arm, your shoulder, your neck, your eyelid. When the two of you leave, he tells you it's a little after 4, and you don't believe him. Okay, here's another scene. You're sitting at your desk, and out of the corner of your eye, you see a jar of potpourri. There are about 20 white roses in the glass. They're still whole. You dried them yourself. So when you see the roses, you start to stop your work and you let your eyes wander until you can't see anymore. And then you daydream. You remember him coming over with 24 long-stem white roses, taking you on a picnic. You ended up in the balcony of a music theater, eating croissants and strawberries with sugar, drinking champagne, listening to a pianist play Mozart on the stage below. And you remember that he took you to dinner afterward. But what you really sticks in your mind is that after dinner, he brought you back to your place and you turned on the stereo and you slow danced in the dark. You moved away the next day, but you put all the roses and all the leaves and all the baby's breath in a small garbage can, filled it with some water, and took it with you. And that's why you keep the roses dried on your desk. Oh, we got 3 now. There's 3. Okay, I've got another one. You're fulfilling your end of a bet. So, you take him to an empty road one night, fully prepared to serenade him. But everything starts to go wrong. The wind picks up and you're shivering with the chill and you're coming down with a cold and you sound nasal. You get nervous. He's going to hate it. You're going to make a fool out of yourself and you can't even think of a good song to sing. So you're racking your brain for a good tune. You should have thought of this before. And he's still there just staring at you. And finally, you remember this song from your childhood. Your older sister taped it for you. You don't even know who sings it. But all you ever thought was that this was a song about romance, about love lasting forever. So you just started to sing. In the back of your mind, you always thought that song would be a song that you shared with your husband. You didn't tell him that part. So now jump ahead a couple of weeks. You're at a bar with him. It's crowded. You're pretty drunk. And after the bar closes, he takes you to his car. His already pathetic car. You know, the one that stalls at intersections. And by now, the driver's side door is stuck and won't open, so he has to crawl in from your side. Well, he drives you to his house, and he lets you in, and he goes upstairs. And then he gives you a bouquet of flowers, and then he gives you this compact disc with the song you sang to him on it. He found out the name of the original singer, and by the fourth record store, he found the song. And he got it for you, girl. For you. Okay, all right, one more. No picnics, no serenading, no gifts. Here's the scene. You make dinner with him at your apartment. You set the table, lower the lights, turn on some big band music, real soft. He opens the wine. As you eat, the two of you start talking. About politics, about the upcoming election, about abortion, the death penalty, the judicial system, about the ethical dilemma in returning clothing to a retail store simply because you've worn it and don't like it anymore, about business, about the welfare system, about philosophy. And when you can't eat anymore, you just kind of lean back in your chair and you watch him. You smile. He's your intellectual equal. He talks to you. You know, earlier that day, you were looking through the want ads because you needed a new apartment, and you just mentioned, without thinking about that, the two of you should just save money by living together. You still can't believe that you said it, or even thought it. But the thought is still there, haunting you, teasing you in the back of your mind. Five cute little stories within a story. And now I've got a couple that are shorter than that. And this next one in this book, From Down in the Dirt, this next piece I'm going to share with you, MicroPros, is titled 7 Miles. Okay. So you were going to be in Chicago for a few hours, and then you'd be driving out of town again, and I really wanted to see you. So I said I'd be more than happy to drive to the city to see you for an hour or two. Okay, we'll meet at the planetarium, I said, because it would be the quickest place for us to meet from the interstate. And besides, you were in the city anyway. You could easily get to the planetarium before I could. So, okay, we meet at 3:15, you said, and so I got off the phone and I rushed out to the door. And I got there. Traffic was a bitch, and I got there, though, and I parked my car and then proceeded to walk back and forth looking for you. Where the hell was he? He didn't have much time before he'd have to leave. Where could he be? It's been over 20 minutes now. What trouble has he gotten himself into now? Knowing him, he probably thought it was the aquarium and was waiting for you at the building a block away from me. Big jerk. And all these men were staring at me like they've never seen a woman in a suede skirt before. One of them even said hello to me, and I had to just sit there and try to ignore everyone and brood because you were late. You probably crashed the car and were bickering over insurance with someone while I sat there. Made me drive a couple of hours for nothing. So then I finally see you sprinting up the block. Your Oxford's unbuttoned, and the closer you get, the more red you look. Okay, now I'm intrigued. Where have you been? I asked. And as you're panting in vain, attempting to catch your breath, you explained that you couldn't get the car out of the parking lot because the person who had the ticket stub in the car was in the doctor's office. So you ran 7 miles to get here so that I wouldn't wait. Okay, I feel like a heel. You never cease to amaze me. I know you said you'd go to the ends of the earth for me. 7 miles is more than enough. As I said, that was a shorter one. This next one that I'd like to share with you from the Down in the Dirt collection book is titled Soybeans. Have you ever jumped into a vat of soybeans before? It's very strange. It feels like you're a kid in one of those playground things where they jump into a pit of colored plastic balls, except soybeans are a lot smaller than those balls in the playground, and I guess they don't have all those colors. Well, anyway, I went over to his grandparents' farm, and he decided to take me on a tour of the farmhouse. The cows were smelly. I made sure I kept keeping my distance, and I just kept calling to him saying, "Hello, moo cow." And there were a bunch of cats running around the field, and we picked up a couple of kittens and held them up high in the air. I kept asking them, "Do you love me?" And he kept asking me why I was asking for approval from cats. Then we gave him some milk from his uncle's farmhouse, and then he took me up a ladder to the top floor of the barn. That's when he proceeded to take off his shoes and jump over onto a ledge. He told me to join him. I couldn't quite see what I was about to jump into. It was almost dusk, but I took off my shoes and socks and I jumped in anyway. And my ankles sunk into the soybeans. And I started laughing. And I fell, and I started to bury myself in soybeans. And then I jumped around a few times, and then I just started throwing soybeans at him. And then I just laid down in the pit of soybeans for a while. They felt cool on my skin. I could feel the dusk from them covering my legs, my calves. There are times like this. Times when I just have to let go. These are readings from the Down in the Dirt collection book, issue collection book from January to April 2024 issues, titled The Ice That Was. The Ice That Was. Sorry, I had to sing that, sorry. But this next one I'm going to share with you is titled Brushes with Greatness. Like when I was leaving the Depeche Mode concert and I saw the lead singer of Nights Are Ebb, I tapped his shoulder, and after I shook his hand, I said, "I just want to say that you're awesome." What a stupid thing to say. His response was, well, thanks. But at least I shook his hand. Like when we were driving down Lakeshore Drive. It was December 23rd, and I saw a limo with the license plate Governor 1. I had to drive next to the limo, and there was Jim Edgar talking on the phone in the back. It was only after we passed when I realized that I was wearing a red baseball cap with reindeer antlers and bells on it. I was so embarrassed. Or when I met the soap opera star from Days of Our Lives, he was signing autographs. His name on the show was Shane. There was this fat 40-year-old woman from Tolono, Illinois, standing in line and screaming every time she thought she saw a glimpse of him. He signed a newspaper clipping of mine and took a picture with me. My mother thinks that in that photo we look like we're on our honeymoon. And in the first grade, when the weatherman Harry Volkman from Channel 2 News came to our school, and I met him because I made him a card that said, "Columbus discovered America in 1492, and I discovered a weatherman when I discovered you." Or like when I was almost in a band that opened for the Smashing Pumpkins. I sang with this band, but we couldn't work with them because I lived out of town. I guess it's not a good one since I didn't meet the Smashing Pumpkins or anything. But at least I saw the show. Or when I photographed the lead singer of REM, it was September and I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt when everyone else was wearing denim jackets. Michael Stipe was walking through a forest preserve with a flock of people around him. I couldn't get to him, but I wanted a photo. So I looked ahead and I saw an empty picnic table. I ran, sprung up on top of it, and I started shooting. He looked at me and waved. Later, when he was about to leave, I got real close, took more pictures. I was right next to him. Or when I talked to the lead singer of King Missile after their show at the Metro, told him it was a good show. He thanked me. And then I said that they should have played Gary and Melissa. Yeah, we keep forgetting that one, he said. And then he looked over at the t-shirt stand, pointed kind of blankly and said, you know, we'd make a lot of money if we had t-shirts. I laughed, but then I tried to walk away. Like when Joe took me to the engineering open house and his wooden bridge won first place for holding the most weight. Or when Lori brought me to the darkroom and showed me how to dodge and burn a print. Or Bridget, or Bobby, or Pat. And when I won the American Legion Award in the 8th grade, or when I published my first book, or when I sang at that coffee house and everyone actually applauded, or at the end of counseling at a retreat weekend, Operation Snowball, and I got a note from a participant thanking me for caring so much, or when I felt happy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I think I'm going to close off this reading for you guys because I want to keep them in that usual 10 to 20 minute time slot, and then I'll do another reading of maybe MicroPros from the, as I close it up, the January to April 2024 issue collection book from Down the Dirt magazine that is titled The Ice That Was. Even though it's got these beige highlights in it, it's got a lot of blue in it, like the chair behind me, or like the shirt I'm wearing, or my lipstick, which, you know, I wore to match my book, apparently. I don't know. Anywho, I thought I would do this, and in fact, I should give a hello wave to people that are watching live. I think that is a person that saw me do a show in Chicago, and they got the biggest kick out of the fact that I had blue lipstick on. And I got blue lipstick on again. Yay! Yay for blue lipstick. And for the blue in this book from Down the Dirt, the 8th Nice That Was, I am going to come back with another reading of MicroPros from this for you guys because I'm doing it in honor of the 1 to 3 p.m. Community poetry reading that went on until the pandemic struck. So in honor of that, I'm doing these readings in this, in honor of that open mic hosted by Tom in North Austin. But come back, I'm going to be doing more readings in this time period for new book releases from Scarce Publications. And thank you all so very much. I hope you all stay safe. I hope you all have had your COVID shots and remain creatively inclined and are able to start getting out in public again. And I look forward to talking to each and every one of you very, very soon. Thank you much. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.